capes with the upper hand.
Welcome to this Moving Panels One Shot. Let's have a nerdy conversation. It is Halloween time, and so, you know what, we've just been in a bracket mood lately. So I figured, let's do the best comic book horror movie, or best horror comic movie, or however you would put those adjectives together. But with me for this, as always, we've got our bracket master himself, Mr. Nicholas Pepin. How are you, Nicholas?
You said comic books, you said horror movies, and you said bracket. I came running.
Yes, the bracket symbol has lit up in the sky, and Nicholas has to respond. But if we're also going to talk about horror movies, I had to bring in our horror expert. And from the Interview with a Horror Virgin podcast, please welcome James Brooks.
Hey everybody, I'm always down for some good horror comics, whether they be, from the Tales from the Crypt to what we see now with actual new Creepshow type comics. So I'm glad to be here, Laramy.
Again, couldn't ask for a better couple of people to hash this out. So I will say this. So when I was coming up with the list of what movies would be included on this bracket, I had to really kind of think about what would be deemed a horror movie, comic book movie. And so some people may disagree with some of the movies that I've put in this bracket. I got to admit, this may not be the most, thorough bracket. Some people might think that there's movies that I didn't include. But these are the movies that I think that fit, at least in some way, shape, or form, the theme of horror. How about you two guys? What did you think about the list?
I thought it was a pretty good list. There's so many indie comics that it's hard to know exactly what, sometimes there might be one that got missed just because it's so obscure.
Yeah, I'd have to agree as well. It was a very
nice
amount of horror on that list as well.
Yeah, and I will also say there are a couple of movies on this list that aren't technically based on comic books, but I still think they should have been included. But we'll maybe talk about those when we get to it. I will say that we did go ahead and start off by eliminating a few off this list just because none of us had ever seen it, or only one of us had seen it, so I didn't think it was fair to include it. But just to name those really quick, so 30 Days of Night, Dark Days, so the sequel to 30 Days of Night, the one that was straight to video, that one has been eliminated. Constantine, City of Demons, which is an animated film, that one has been deleted. Death Note, that is on Netflix, and I had all the intention of the world of actually watching it to prep for this, but when I noticed neither one of you had seen it, I just went, never mind. So that one has been deleted. Faust, Love of the Damned, which I couldn't even figure out how to watch it, has been deleted. We also removed both of the Justice League Dark movies and removed which I didn't even know this existed until I was doing this research, and that was the 1972 Tales from the Crypt movie. So before we had the HBO TV show, there was a movie called Tales from the Crypt. And then one that James actually told me about, but I didn't get a chance to watch it, and Nicholas had never seen it either, and that is called The Empty Man, and then The Guyver also got removed. So if you have strong feelings about any of those, please let us know, but we didn't think it was fair to include them in our bracket here since either one or none of us had ever seen them. So no point in putting them up against anything because we have no foundation to go off of. But I did keep anything that at least two of us had seen. I figured that at least in that case, we could say that the one person who hasn't seen it, it's an automatic, pass on that one. And then the other two of us would decide whether it moves forward or not. So there you have it. As always, the seating was based off of ratings from IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, kind of averaged together and giving us a score, which caused our seating. So there you have it. So gentlemen, are you ready to kick into this?
Let's do this thing.
All right, so there are 37 movies on our list, and since that is not a number that brackets usually have, that means there is going to be a very quick elimination round to begin things out. So we can do this very quick because these are going to be the bottom of the barrel movies for us. So I doubt there's going to be a lot of want to discuss these. So let's go ahead and kick things off. We've got Virus, which is an episode that James and I actually did together.
Oh, wow.
going up against Dylan Dog.
I was there for Virus, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, I enjoyed Dylan Dog. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was fun. Virus, I'd rather just staple my head to a wall than ever watch again.
That's right. I forget that you did the Virus episode because you talk so much about Virus in so many other episodes that we do. So all right, so there we go. We got one for Dylan Dog. How about you, James?
As much as I love Virus, I have to go with Dylan Dog just because it has a structure to it. Whereas with Virus, it's just kind of like, let me throw something against the wall and let's see what sticks, you know? A Baldwin, there we go. But other than that, I have to agree, Dylan Dog gets it. And soft spot with some other horror films as well.
There you go. So Dylan Dog's going to take that one. I am going to throw my vote at Virus, but that is only because I've seen it more recently than Dylan Dog. So I can't really necessarily say that I think Dylan Dog's a better movie. But I bet if I were to watch Dylan Dog again, I would have picked Dylan Dog. All right, next up, we've got I, Frankenstein against The Crow, Wicked Prayer. Now, this is one that I am going to say I, Frankenstein, I think is fun. So I'm going with I, Frankenstein.
I, Frankenstein was fun. The Crow was awful.
Well, for me, since I've been in a Crow mood, I'm going to have to go with The Crow on this one, just because I've seen the new Crow, and it's just been going through my head about all this stuff, and I grew up watching a lot of The Crow in my angsty teen years.
Yeah, so I will say the new Crow, the remake that was just released, is not on this list. I didn't actually ask Nicholas if he had seen it, but I kind of had a feeling he hadn't gone to see it, so James would have been the only one who actually went and saw the new Crow, because it's still in theaters. So, just to throw that out there. All right, next up, we've got Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood against Vampirilla.
I'm going to vote Vampirilla.
How awesome is that matchup, though?
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
That's a great matchup. Bordello of Blood is fun, but I'm looking forward to, at some point, getting to do the Vampirella episode with you. Because it's not good either, but it's a lot of fun. But I think I'm going to vote Vampirella.
Yeah, I'm going to go Vampirilla. James, you got any say?
Bordello of Blood, just because I remember seeing it when it first came out, when I really wasn't supposed to, and then that shock ending at the end of it just had me go, oh, you ended it in a great Tales from the Crypt way. Right on.
Next up, we've got AVP Requiem's Alien vs. Predator sequel against the crime thriller that kind of promoted itself as a horror movie, Whiteout. I got to go AVP on that one. Whiteout disappointed me so much.
I know I saw Whiteout, and other than the fact that Kate Beckinsale is in it, I don't remember anything about it. AVP Requiem was actually, I thought, way better than the first AVP.
Okay.
So
wow. Oh, man.
I mean, I'm not saying it's good, but
yeah.
But so I'm going to go AVP as well.
I'm going to have to go AVP as well. Again, since I've seen two of the most recent new films that are into from The Crow to Alien Romulus, I have to go AVP. It's a special place in my heart. It had some fun moments, but I will agree. I did enjoy it a little bit more than I did the first one.
All right, and then finally in this little elimination round, we've got Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance against Man-Thing.
Is there a way to vote for neither?
And we got to let one of them go through, and then it'll get eliminated in the next round.
Oh, okay, all right. I guess I'll go Man-Thing then.
Okay, yeah, I can't vote for Man-Thing. That movie is just horrible. So I'm going Spirit of Vengeance.
Man-Thing. Yeah, because it was, as a kid, I was fascinated with some of the cool deaths, but now I go back and look at it as an adult, and I'm like, this is bad. But it's a special place in my heart. I love it.
Like I said, trust me, it is getting eliminated. All right, so here we go. We're into round 2, but this is our first official main round, so everything will be in this one. So here we go, starting things off. So Dylan Dog moved its way in to now go up against The Crow. This is, of course, the Brandon Lee version of The Crow. I'm going with The Crow. The rewatch I've had of it recently when James and I did the episode on The Crow reminded me I actually really do like that movie. So I'm going The Crow.
I mean, as much fun as Dylan Dog was, The Crow is just, I mean, that Crow is actually a good movie.
Yes.
Yep, I have to go with The Crow on this one as well. As much as I really did enjoy Dylan Dog, it was one of those guilty pleasure films, so I'm like, I love this, but I have to go with something that just gives me that warm, nostalgic feeling.
All right, moving into our next round, we've got Hardware, movie that I recently discovered, against Swamp Thing, the OG Swamp Thing, Wes Craven movie.
Oh, this one's easy because you had me watch Hardware for a bracket we did with Tim, and
Yep.
that's awful.
It is.
Swamp Thing is fun. It's not good,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Yep, Swamp Thing gets it for me too. James, you got anything to say?
Swamp Thing as well, just because I still love to replay when we watch Return of Swamp Thing, so totally down for it.
Yeah, I did not include Return to Swamp Thing because that's more of a comedy. That's not really a horror. The first one at least has some horror movie elements to it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next up, we've got the semi-autobiographical My Friend Dahmer against The Crow Salvation. I'm going Dahmer.
I've recently watched Dahmer, and yeah, I'm going to go for that one as well over Crow, because Crow Salvation is awful. I mean, I'll never watch My Friend Dahmer again, but at least it's a quality movie.
Oh, yeah, it's not a rewatch. It doesn't have a lot of rewatchability.
Yeah, I'd have to go with My Friend Dahmer with you guys on this one, because as much as I love the Crow series and I tried to watch the rest of them, I could barely remember the plot of those films.
Yeah, I that's one of going to be my thing with the Crow sequels is going, which one was that? I don't. All right, next up, we've got Blade against the 2019 Hellboy.
Oh, this is easy. Blade.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yep,
100%.
Blade, sorry.
Again, David Harbour deserved better. Next up, we've got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I did feel like that one deserved horror movie status. And that is going up against I, Frankenstein. I got to go Multiverse. I enjoy I, Frankenstein, but I got to go Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness.
For you, Sam Raimi, Multiverse of Madness.
Again, I, Frankenstein is an enjoyable movie. But all right, here's one of the ones that is not technically a comic book. Technically, but I felt like it should be included, and that is Brightburn, because it is essentially Superman if he, went bad. So, Brightburn, you ready for this? Against Morbius.
Oh, I want them to do the sequel for Brightburn. That is a franchise that could be interesting. Morbius could be dropped off a cliff and never be seen or heard from again.
Oh, this is such a tough decision. I mean...
No, it's not.
Brightburn. I'm joking. It's Brightburn. I'm not going to... I would never say yes to that. What a waste of casts and all that.
All right, so I'm curious as to what Nicholas is going to say about this one. So Vampirilla came in to now go up against Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
Vampirilla's fun, but bye. I mean...
Yeah, this is another one of those where I would probably argue, I think the sequel to Hellboy, I think it's better than the original.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So Hellboy 2 taking that one. All right, next up we have Constantine. This is Keanu Reeves against the animated Tales of the Black Freighter. Now I know, James, you have not seen Tales from the Black Freighter. So that's going to be an automatic point for Constantine for you. So how about you, Nicholas?
Constantine.
Yeah, it's going to be Constantine for me, too. Tales from the Black Freighter's good, but it doesn't hold up to a actual movie. And Alien vs. Predator Requiem came in to compete against Werewolf by Night. Ooh, that one. I got to think about that one. So, who wants to go first?
I'm thinking Werewolf by Night. I think, even though it was a short and it was only... it wasn't really like a full movie compared to AVP Requiem. It's just so much better quality. It's so well done, and so it left me wanting more.
Yeah. I
I
agree with you.
Same here. I have to agree. Plus, me being the odd one out, being the Man-Thing fan that I am, I liked how they actually got the correct depiction of Man-Thing and not just a huge thing of moss that we saw on the film.
No, we got Ted. So, all right, Werewolf by Night it is. All right, next up, this one I don't think should be too hard, but I'm curious to see where you guys stand. 30 Days of Night against The New Mutants. I'm 100% going 30 Days of Night. The New Mutants was trash.
I second everything you just said.
Yes.
30 Days of Night it is. All right, next up. This is one that I know Nicholas has not seen, so that means there's going to be an automatic point against it. Cemetery Man, which is actually based on the same comic that Dylan Dog is based off of. And I just recently saw this. So James and I have both seen Cemetery Man. But it is going up against Spawn. So Nicholas's point automatically goes to Spawn because he's never seen Cemetery Man. All right, James, what say you?
Oh, this is a hard one. Oh, man, because I love the effects that are in Spawn, even though they're dated now. But I love some of the effects that are in Cemetery Man. I'm going to have to go with Cemetery Man on this one.
Okay. All right. Nicholas, do you want to say anything maybe in support of Spawn?
No, I don't.
No? Okay. I was just curious because I do know you're not a huge fan of that movie. So I was curious because I'm actually going to go Cemetery Man. And this is going to be my reason because we are determining best horror comic book movie. And Cemetery Man at least has, to me, more of a horror movie feel than Spawn does. Because Spawn is more of the superhero action film. But so Cemetery Man's going to take that for us. All right. Next up, we've got... Oh, this is an interesting pairing. Blade 2 versus Alien versus Predator.
I'm going to go Blade 2. It's... Blade 1 and 2 are really strong entries of the Blade franchise. And,
Agreed.
And
yes.
Alien vs. Predator just never really got off the ground the way it should have.
No.
It didn't lean into the horror elements enough.
Agreed. And I think this is another case where Blade 2, I don't know if I'll necessarily say it's better than Blade, but it definitely is right up there with it.
Yes.
I mean, Guillermo del Toro created a great sequel with that Blade. So I'm also going Blade 2, but James, you got any say in the matter?
I just like AVP because no, there wasn't any horror aspects, but it did have one of the greatest fights that we've all been trying to look forward to between the Xenos and the Ouches.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for a movie to actually do one of those versus movies good because we all waited for Freddy versus Jason, then that got disappointed. We all waited for Alien versus Predator, we got disappointed. We all waited for Batman versus Superman, and we got disappointed. So I'm still waiting for them to actually do one of those right. All right, Man-Thing came into the game, and I told you Man-Thing was going to get eliminated, but James is a fan of Man-Thing, so let's see what happens. James, will you pick Man-Thing over Split?
No, I'm afraid not. Because I guess this goes back to just Werewolf by Night. They got the whole depiction of him a lot better than in that Man-Thing movie. I love Split. I love the movies that came with it. And it's just, I like the story of it. That's just more of a guilty
pleasure. I know Split is not actually based on a comic book, but I think that the, whatever you want to call it, the Glass Unbreakable trilogy, I do think that it deserves to be at comic book movie status. We've even covered Unbreakable on the show before, and Split is the horror movie of those three, so that's why it is included in this list. But I am also going Split. Nicholas, you got any say?
No, I mean, Split is a fantastic movie.
Absolutely.
And Man-Thing is not.
It is not. It's not even a good movie for a Sci-Fi Channel movie. So, all right, moving on. We've got Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight against Blade Trinity.
Demon Knight. Demon Knight.
Okay.
It might be one of the only times I ever vote for Blade Trinity, but yeah, Blade Trinity.
I'm going to go Demon Knight just because, again, my argument of I'm trying to find the best horror movie, and Blade Trinity is the least horror movie of the Blade movies.
Good point.
So
it's a valid argument.
Yeah. And at least Demon Knight is a horror movie, even though it has that Tales from the Crypt kind of dark humor in it. But
Billy Zane.
All right. Yes, and Billy Zane. All right, we've got the 2004 Hellboy, Ron Perlman at his greatest. Anybody going to vote against it and vote for The Crow, City of Angels?
No.
No, I'm joking. I'm not going to do this again.
Yeah.
Hellboy.
All right. And then last up, we've got From Hell against Ghost Rider. Again, with my argument about horror movie, I got to go From Hell.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yes, I would agree.
All right, so here we go. Things might start getting interesting now. We have, in our first matchup, we have The Crow against Swamp Thing.
Ooh.
I'm going Crow.
Yeah,
Me
I think
too.
I would go Crow as well.
Yep.
James, that was a Crow for you?
Yes, it was. I guess I got lost in the crowd of yeses.
All right. And then we've got My Friend Dahmer versus Blade. Ooh, that's two completely different movies.
That is, yeah.
I'm going to use your argument and say that Blade is much more of a horror movie. Now, I know that My Friend Dahmer is real life, but
Yeah.
like you never, it never gets in. It stops right before it actually gets to it's really just those last like 10 minutes of the movie that actually have the horror aspect to them.
Yeah, that's a good argument, so I'll go with Blade as well. Yep. All right. All right, next up we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness against Brightburn. I'm going Brightburn. I do love Multiverse of Madness, but Brightburn is such a better horror movie.
Yes,
yeah,
I agree.
I'll go with Brightburn just because you have that like, gruesome gore aspect too.
All right. Hellboy 2, The Golden Army versus Constantine.
I'm going to go Hellboy 2.
I'm going to go Constantine, so that leaves it in your hands, James.
Yeah, I'm going to go Constantine because of some of those like horror moments that were in Constantine versus Hellboy.
And that's what it is for me too. Now, if you were to ask me which one's the better movie, it's Hellboy 2. But if you were to ask me which one's better in the horror category, that's why I'm going Constantine. But it's close for me. That's just what puts it over the edge. It's the fact that this is a horror movie bracket. So, Battle of the Nights. We got Werewolf by Night against 30 Days of Night. I mean, think about this one.
Is it wrong to vote for a movie? It's barely even a movie. It's more of like a special. But I do think... one was really well done and one had Melissa George.
Oh, man. Well, for me, I'd probably go... I'll do 30 Days of Night.
Oh, you're going to leave it up to me. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't dislike 30 Days of Night. I dislike Josh Hartnett, but I don't know if I don't dislike 30 Days of Night. But again, this could just be because I have seen it very recently, but Werewolf by Night is a good movie, and then I like that it pays homage to the classic horror movies. So, yeah, I got to go Werewolf by Night on that one. All right, next up, James, I think this is where this one's going to get knocked out. Cemetery Man versus Blade 2.
I'm going to obviously vote for Cemetery Man just because...
Okay, and then Nicholas gets an automatic vote for Blade 2 because you've never seen Cemetery Man.
Correct.
So it's going to come down to me, and I got to go Blade 2. Cemetery Man, like I said, it's good classic, got the horror movie elements to it, but it's just when I watched this actually earlier this week, I messaged James and I said, this movie is wild. And so if you have AMC Plus, because that's where I found it, give it a watch. It's interesting.
Now, to be fair, I would have voted for Cemetery Man over Spawn, even though I've never seen it.
Well, thank you.
All right, so Blade 2 takes that one. Moving on, we've got Split against Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. I got to go Split. That's no question for me.
I agree.
Demon Knight.
Yeah, you can have it, but Split still wins. All right. And then finally, we've got the 2004 Hellboy against From Hell. With my argument about horror movies, I've got to go From Hell.
Yeah, From Hell.
I'm going to go Hellboy then, just because I want to.
No. And that is totally fine. I respect that, but From Hell does move on. All right. We are nearing the end. We have our final 8 here. And is starting off, interesting. We've got The Crow versus Blade.
I mean, I think the first episode I ever did with you was Blade, so I've been consistently on board of loving Blade. I do like The Crow, but I don't like it as much as I like Blade, so...
This is a tough one. Because Blade was actually like one of the first Marvel films that I watched as a young teen, but The Crow was like where I really kind of discovered myself a lot more. So I'm going to have to go with The Crow because it kind of like, it changed me as a child.
I understand that. I think, because I'm still trying to stick with my which one's better in the case of a horror movie, and I do think Blade is. I think Blade definitely sticks with that horror movie, especially at the time it came out. Because, that opening scene, for one, is like a classic horror movie scene of bringing the guy into the rave party and then the blood pouring down. So, yeah, Blade's going to have to take that one for me. All right, this one's easy for me, so I'll go ahead and give mine. So, Brightburn versus Constantine. I'm going Brightburn.
I will go Brightburn as well.
Brightburn. Yep.
Could a non-actual comic book movie win this? Let's find out. All right, next up, we've got Werewolf by Night against Blade 2. Yeah.
Oh, this is a really hard one now.
I think, as much as I like Werewolf by Night, Blade 2 being an actual movie and being a little bit more blood-soaked, with a little bit more gore, not a lot, but I mean, using the argument of more horror elements. Now, granted, Werewolf by Night is more the classic, like, Universal Monsters horror, but I think I'm going to go Blade 2.
But, here's something funny. I respect everything you said, but everything you said actually made me decide Werewolf by Night. Because I don't disagree with you. Blade 2's got the blood and the gore. But there's something I like better about movies that don't, but still make you feel uneasy and on edge. And that transformation that he goes through, where you see it from Ava's eyes and you see it just in the shadow, yeah. So Werewolf by Night's going to take it for me.
I have to side with Laramy on this. As much as I like Blade 2, I love the classic Universal of the Wolfman, and my heart goes out to it.
And then finally here, we've got Split against From Hell. I'm going Split.
I'm going From Hell.
Oh, of course.
So all up to you, Nicholas.
Oh, I don't remember From Hell all that well. It's been so long since I've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do remember seeing it. I remember going, "Oh, this is pretty good, Johnny Depp," and I wanted to try Absinthe for a long time because of it. I think Split is a little bit more of a straight up horror movie.
Yeah. From Hell's got too much of it's just telling kind of a fictionalized historical story.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go. Determining who goes into the finals. I'm going to do these out of the order that they're on here. So I'm going to go with this one first. So Werewolf by Night against Split.
I think I'm going to go Werewolf by Night. I mean, your argument that you just gave me was pretty convincing, but the fact that it's actually a comic book where Split is comic book adjacent,
inspired. Yeah, Werewolf by Night.
Okay, well then it doesn't matter what I say, but I was leaning towards Werewolf by Night, so we'll stick with that. So Werewolf by Night goes into the finals, and we also in our final 4 we got another non-comic book movie, Brightburn against Blade. I don't know if it's because of the Superman aspect, but I've got to go Brightburn. Brightburn is just more of a horror movie to me than Blade is. I know it's not a comic book movie, but the argument against Split I got as well, but Brightburn is that much closer to a comic book movie because it really is just the origin of Superman, just told as a horror movie. So I'm going Brightburn.
I hear your argument, and I understand your argument. And I did really like Brightburn. Like I said, I do wish they would have continued or would. There's still, I mean, it didn't get made that long ago. I would love to see that franchise continue. But I love Blade. So I'm going to make things hard on James, and I'm going to go Blade.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's see.
All right, keep in mind, this is what goes into the finals.
I'm going to have to go with Brightburn because it's that horror aspect. I always love just every time we mention Blade, I think of that opening scene at the rave. But watching all of just like the slow decline of Brightburn just sits with you so much longer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here we have it. What will be our best horror comic book movie? We've got Brightburn, which again, I will argue is the story of Superman. It's as close to a comic book movie as it could have been. And it's going up against Werewolf by Night. So let me first state, we've got two in our finals. One is not officially a comic book movie. The other's not officially a movie. So
it's the fun of the bracket. You never know how it's going to turn out.
You never know. Yeah.
You can think you know, but then you get to a situation like this, and you're just like, hey, I'm going to vote Werewolf by Night because it's actually a comic book. But, man, Brightburn was a very good movie, but I am going to go Werewolf by Night.
I'm gonna have to go with Werewolf by Night because it gives me that classic Universal monster feel, that transformation, that whole like anticipating what is about to happen. I love that. Versus with Brightburn, where it was like again that slow decline that I had mentioned, and then you just kind of get more of a shock factor there.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. Here's where I went in my mind. I went, it's Halloween night. Which one of these would I rather put on? And with that being said, I actually told myself I would rather watch Werewolf by Night on Halloween night. So I am also, even though we thought it was going to be real close, all three of us are picking Werewolf by Night over Brightburn. So there you have it. It's official. According to Moving Panels, Werewolf by Night is the greatest comic book horror movie or horror comic book movie, however you want to put, whatever order you want to put that in. Gentlemen, anything you want to say about our champion, Werewolf by Night?
Go watch it. Hopefully, if enough more people watch it again and again, Disney Plus will get the picture and make a sequel or do more of that type.
Oh yeah, give us the Dark Avengers.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. But I'd have to go and say, yeah, go see Werewolf by Night. It's a good callback to the classic Universal monsters, just like that whole setting, the fog, the dark, the creepy mansion, the mysterious people that all show up all at once. It's a fun thing to turn on during Halloween. I recommend you do it.
And then Flaming Tubas. Yeah. No, go see. I love how we're saying go see Werewolf by Night. You can watch it from home. You don't have to go anywhere. Just put it on Disney Plus. But I will say that do not watch it in color. Watch the black and white like it's meant to be. Disney Plus does have it in color, but don't watch it in color. Watch it in black and white. You only need the color of the stone. That's the only thing you need. All right, so there we have it. We've got Werewolf by Night as our winner for this bracket. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on that. That was I think that's one of our quicker brackets. I will say that, but I think it was a fun one, and I do think we came to probably one of the best decisions we could have.
Absolutely.
All right. So thanks everybody for listening. Enjoy the spooky time that is right here at Halloween, and go see Werewolf by Night. See Brightburn. I mean, hey, there's enough to go around, especially with Werewolf by Night being so short. Watch them both. But Werewolf by Night is our winner. And so there you have it. Another bracket down. If you have anything you want to say, if you think we were wrong, feel free to let us know. Moving Panels on all social media platforms, or hit us up at movingpanels@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. But as for right now, as for today, Werewolf by Night is our winner. And for today, for Moving Panels, I'm Laramy Wells, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.